There are multiple ways that content circulates today. Both research and practice tells us that storytelling is a great way to improve the spreading of content in the emerging media landscape. People don't want more information, they want faith. It is faith that moves mountains, not facts. Faith needs a story to sustain it. A meaningful story inspires faith and renews hope. Story is your path to creating faith. Telling a meaningful story means inspiring your listeners. Storytelling seems easy and natural to some, yet there also seems to be an art to doing it well. People will only have faith in a story that has become real for them. Once people make your story their story, you have tapped into the powerful force of faith. From there, future influence will require very little follow-up energy and can expand as people retell your story. In a way, they become your multipliers. My goal for listeners is not audience engagement alone, it is also building up our multiplier constituents. A multiplier is someone who will treat the content or story as a starting point. Multipliers will build in some of their own intelligence and imagination. They will take possession of a cultural artifact and make it more detailed, more contextually responsive, more culturally nuanced, and as a result, more valuable. So through producing great content, our aim is also to cultivate our multiplier base. This is very important since we have entered the hybrid model of circulation media from the previously more distribution-focused media platforms. So how do we produce material that people want to spread? Certainly, post and pray is no longer the best content strategy. I think we would all agree. There are 6 types of stories you would want to tell well. Master these and your content becomes more sticky and spreadable, and you will connect your audience to the faith that moves mountains. And as a bonus, you'll find more audience that become your multipliers. Now ready with handouts, shall we do a deep dive into the 6 types of stories? Next segment structure is as follows. 1, I'll describe each type of story. 2, I'll share core principles on how to craft each type. 3, you can pause the video to have a volunteer read a sample story. This will give you a chance to comment if you wish. Of course, there are plenty of other types of stories we could tell. However, these 6 types seem to form the basis and foundation for telling other stories well. So think of the first one, Who I Am story, as describing what qualities you have to influence another person. In Who I Am stories, you'll want to reveal who you are as a person, so it will help you to ask some of the questions that you see on the screen. Furthermore, these type of story really helps create a great opener during fundraisers because it builds trust immediately. So here's a recap on how to craft Who I Am stories. First, examine qualities that you have to influence others. 2, tell a time, place, and event story that gives evidence that you have those qualities. Then reveal something about you, who you are as a person. People need to know who you are before they can trust you. So consider these things as some of the primary ways that you can craft a great Who I Am story. Now you can pause this slide, this video, and hear the example. Second, Why I Am Here stories. If you wish to influence, you're asking for a person's time, money, and resource. However, people don't really relax and listen until they are satisfied that they know what's in it for you. So look at the questions on the screens. Consider those elements when you tell this type of story. Until you satisfy their curiosity of what's in it for you, they may discredit the facts that you share as biased. Keep it short, but explain the big picture about why you are investing your time with them on this matter. Tell this person what you get out of it besides money, and be transparent. Third, vision stories. An exciting future story reframes present difficulties as being worth it. A vision story is metaphorical. Numbers and dates are language of goals and objectives, so in these type of stories, use sensory details instead. A vision story is very specific, so pull in universal emotional appeal. Martin Luther King paraphrased Amos 5:24 effectively as a vision story. We will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Now that's a vision story. Values are subjective and culture specific. Best way to communicate a value is by example, and second best way is through a story. So share core values that drive your decision making, dedication, and compassion. These days we're surrounded by stories of broken promises, exploitation, and betrayal. Although these stories are important, impact deepens when we balance that with positive value and action stories. So look through your core values and craft stories around them. Certain lessons are best learned from experience, and stories can stimulate an experience, so a learner can vicariously live the moments before, during, and after an event. Teaching story transports your listener into a sensory experience, so identify a few basic tasks that you'd like to see improved. Timing is important with teaching stories. A good time to tell a teaching story is before anything has gone wrong. And training sessions should be filled with teaching stories. Utilize memory and imagination of your audience. People often have objections to the ideas that we share, but they won't always tell you that up front. So it is very important as part of building trust to validate others' objections and contrast that with by reframing it through stories. You may wish to read the example on the screen to get a better idea. The sixth type of story, I know what you're thinking story, is an excellent tool for preemptive strategy. You validate your audience's objection, you have the opportunity to build trust and frame their objection as irrational and understandable, and it makes it easier to overcome an objection before it hardens into a position. Add to your skillful storytelling these best practices. Be culture specific, utilize context-worthy stories, remember value orientation of the culture that you are embedded in, and look to the parables for great examples. Thank you.